Hi, are we live?
We are live.
Well, welcome to the first stream from Death Valley in El Pasoverse. We're streaming out here. It's 40 degrees where I am. We have all kinds of issues with keeping cameras cooled, keeping the room cooled enough, running on generators. So if for any reason that we black out on this end, I'm going to have our colleagues here, Patrick Tobler and Kjell Halbing, continue to stream. But I think we can keep this going. And we have a very exciting chapter now coming. We have so far published. Today we're going to talk about the books, the Morgan Kane books through book.io that we're publishing. We're using that as our release platform. We've had tremendous response from the community. The community has been really supporting and giving a lot of feedback on what we've been doing. We want to get more feedback. And we've so far done 5 books, and today we're going to select the covers for books 3, 4, and 5 because we're launching a new product that's also going on book.io as well as other platforms. So make sure you stay to the end because we have several different new announcements coming, and I'm happy to have here with me today Kjell Falbing, who is the son of Louis Masterson. He has been a great guidance and inspiration as we've been going through these books, and we've talked a lot about what these books mean, what they should look like, where they should be in the marketplace, and we also have Patrick Tobler, who's on the technology side of El Pasoverse. He's going to come into this full force very soon now, but we've had to work very hard on the practical side of things because there's a practical element of El Pasoverse, which means being out in the elements in the desert with scorpions and snakes and heat and everything that we have out here. And there's going to be a lot of streams coming now, basically several times a week. So we're going to get kick this off very soon. Patrick, are we live on X as well? And
We are live everywhere. Yeah, YouTube,
Okay.
X. I see there's already over 20 people as well in the stream. So welcome everyone.
Okay. So should we? What I'd like to do is to quickly look at what we had. What we did here is that we invited the community. Well, first of all, we offered limited edition, collector edition books for the Morgan Kane series, which we premiered on book.io, and every book that we launch comes out with about 700 different unique covers. Each cover is 1-to-1, meaning there's only one version of each one. And then we go through this selection process where one cover is ultimately selected from this that becomes the official cover as we launch the what we call the next edition, Patrick, the unlimited edition,
Open edition.
Open edition.
Yep.
Because we've had a lot of requests from people that didn't buy the collector books to basically want to read, and they're asking, where can I read the books? Where can I get it? And that's where this open edition comes in. And this open edition will be launching on book.io very soon. It'll also be launching on Amazon, iTunes, Kobo, and Google Play. So all those platforms will be available right after we wrap up this stream and we select the covers for the first 5. So as way of introduction, I'd like to, Patrick, if you can pull up the JPEG store for book number 3. Okay. Is this, and you can pull up kind of the lineup of Star and the Gun, which should be book number 3.
Is book number 3 Backed by the Law, or is it Star by the Gun?
No, that's book number 4.
Sorry, 1 second.
We're gonna get to that.
Okay, here we go. This is Star and the Gun.
Okay, so in this one, we decided to change the format a little bit. In the previous versions where we selected books number 1 and 2, Without Mercy and Claw of the Dragon, we basically invited the community to submit their covers, their versions, which meant we got a selection, a very small sample of the whole offering. And more. Some people missed that, and we also missed on some covers that didn't get seen by Halbing. So Halbing now has basically been given the chance to see all the covers, and out of that, he's made his selection. So what I'd like to do is to kind of turn it over to you, Halbing, to give some general feedback on what you think of this series, this lineup, and then we'd like to hear which one that you liked and why you liked it and why you think it represents your father's work.
Well, the first two covers were very mystified in the sense that we didn't show the whole of Morgan Kane as a figure in the photo. It was like a very close up on the gun side, gun holster. It was very gloomy, dark. This time I was presented with a larger variety, as you said, Ryan, because now I got to see all of them, not only a selection of 20. And it sprung to mind that it was maybe time to show more of Morgan Kane than just his gun hand. And of course, I flipped through all the photos, and I was sitting down and looking at them. And they were, of course, I liked the one with the silhouette, with a strong lighting. So yeah, and I also wanted something that was a little, not mysterious, but forceful, but at the same a little retracted. So this, for example, was one cover that I really liked, and I also suggested that this cover is used later. But this one in particular, which I really like, is very close to the first one that we picked. The hand with the gun holster, stating something is about to happen, as I said earlier, or has happened. But since we used like that in the first two covers, I wanted something, or suggested that we use something else this time. More of a profile, showing more of nature, using the lighting from the desert. And therefore I suggested picture frame 535.
Are we now? I think we skipped to back by law. Did we? Where were we on Star of the Gun?
Yes, 1 second, 1 second. I'm looking up 535. Okay, here it is. This one is 535.
No, that is no, backed by the law. Picture 535.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
There you have it.
Yes. Okay, this one.
Here you see more nature. You have the beautiful scenery behind Morgan Kane, with the clouds and the skies and everything. And obviously, again, it is about to happen or has happened. But again, you see more of him, the silhouette, the sleek person. Yet, because all the lighting and the colors are in the background, he still is a little gloomy and retracted, if you know what I mean. So I think it's a lovely,
like
lovely photo, because all the colors goes into what's behind, and he still comes up as a mysterious.
Just a comment
really
on
like
this.
That.
This was.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, this was shot in Big Bend National Park in Texas, and it was just this epic scenery around it. And this actually comes out of a series. Patrick, if you can, I know this is selection. I think is a really good choice. I just want as a note on this. Well, actually, at the very top, you see the eagle flying there. At the very top of the banner, if you go slightly up, see this is from one of the actually images. There was these two eagles that just took off and was circling over as I was shooting these. I just heard the fluff, 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 and they were just checking me out to see what was going on. I got a couple of shots of that. That's actually one of the covers as well. But it was just this epic scenery.
And of course, since my name is translated to English, Eagle Wolf, of course you should put that into a future frame, Ryan.
True. Yeah, Ernulf means eagle wolf. There you have it. Hold on. Go back up. You see there, is it the 150 ADA, the one that's offered at 150 ADA? You have it there. I believe you see the two eagles on this one. I see one. So there's only like 5 of these covers, and the next one you see the second one rising above. I don't know.
Okay, then I challenge you
not
to
all
get a picture frame with an eagle and a wolf at the same time.
Eagle and a wolf. Okay, I'll aim for that. But by the way, on this note, there's going to be a redemption thing it's a hidden code in all these that later we will have contests and things where, like, if you have an animal on your cover, if you have 2 animals, if you have if the hat is blowing off in the wind. I mean, we'll have these different things that will kick into play later. They're not articulated yet, but it'll be kind of a game within the covers that's coming. Okay, so we've selected back by the law. This is the official one. I don't know if we made a particular note on the previous one, Star and the Gun. You had the image up, Patrick, the selection for number 3.
Yes, so, okay, yeah, I was a little bit confused which one is number 3, but Star and the Gun is, I believe, this one, correct?
Yes, this is the one that you selected earlier. And my comment on this is that the symbolism is that Morgan Kane has a star-shaped scar on the back of his hand, and the Star and the Gun is pretty fitting for this title.
Absolutely.
As I commented, I didn't want to use this on cover 3 because it is quite similar to the first one we selected, Ryan. The hand and the gun, but this time it's more color. It's now it presents now it is the scar. It presents new layers through Morgan Kane. So I think it was important that cover number 3 was not kind of the gun with the hand, that we had like a break, if you know what I mean, changing, and then we can go back, because I love these kinds of because they are very good. They are very crispy. Colors are very nice, and this picture, in my opinion, tells a story on itself.
Great. So that, I think, brings us to cover number 5. And before we, here we're tipping the hat already on where we're landing.
1 second. So I'm opening the page with all the covers. I just had this one open. Okay. Here we go.
It's called a sleight of hand, a reveal.
Yeah, I revealed faster than you could talk.
Right. Let's talk about him a little bit. My commentary here is this is the first set of covers that was shot on location in Death Valley. This was done by Christian Ramirez and myself, and we were out here in between building this building that I'm sitting in right now, which you're going to see a lot of. There's a lot to this. This is just one out of the 5 sets that's in here. So we now have a lot more tools to work with. We have guns, costumes, live firing guns. We have epic locations. We're able to bring actors in and dress them up and turn them into characters. So what you're going to see in the series is that these all say featuring Morgan Kane. We may have some with Major Monroe, with Charlie Katz. We'll start to filter in more characters, and the community will be welcome to actually be on these covers. So we're going to open up that people that are in America are able to come to these locations, can get dressed up. And once you see our costume warehouse here and our hat selection and gun belts is pretty exciting, and how you can be transformed into these characters. So this was shot on a dry lake here in Death Valley. So I'll pass it over to you, Ernest.
As for the cover of book 3, backed by the law, again I was represented with something not new but different, and again it was the lighting who sold me. It was again the silhouette of Morgan Kane and the strong lighting that drew my attention to this picture. And that's it. That was my favorite. The sun shining between his hip and his arm, gun hand. No, his left hand, but still, I think that's just brilliant. It's like it could be taken early in the morning, probably early evening, but I just love the colors of this picture.
I completely agree. It looks amazing. It's a really, really nice composition, and the lightning here, where it shines directly through the arm, is brilliant.
And now we have like so far 3 covers who kind of focuses on the gun, and now we have also 2 covers that uses the silhouette of Morgan Kane. So I think we are starting to get a balance of different types of photos for the covers.
So the lighting really showed up on this one, and we had great light to work with. So, I agree these are excellent choices. Now we have kind of our lineup for the first 5 books. But also this is just 1 or 2 or 3 people's opinion. We'd like to keep hearing your opinions. The community still has the alpha on what they deem to be the best covers, which will play out in the aftermarket. They will play out in the JPEG store, and it's really exciting to watch that. We think that's going to accelerate as we do our giveaway. We've done our giveaways on Without Mercy. It hasn't airdropped yet, but it's going to airdrop. And when that happens, we're going to start to launch all these other attributes to these covers. Like I mentioned, whether they have animals in them, whether they have, one of these, the hat kept blowing off in the wind. We actually made a GIF out of that. But, it's all these events that happen in the process of making them. That's pretty, we haven't told those stories. We haven't really involved the community in them, but we're going to. So I believe all of them will continue to play a role as we have kind of our official set.
I actually, on my part, obviously, you're the boss, Ryan, but on my part, I thought it was really interesting to receive a selection of what the community thinks about the covers. It gives me a kind of feedback before I go through and select to see what is interesting for the audience.
Yeah, totally. It's a nice way to do it. We've talked a lot about this. We talked with our partner, Book.io, and we like it. We're going to keep this premiere format. We're going to keep Book.io as our launch platform for every single title going forward. We've had requests that books should come out more often, like every 2 weeks. We'd like to get there. So far, we're going to have a Morgan Kane book every single month, and we'll try to get to 2 per month as soon as possible, as soon as we have the resources. We just have a lot of other things going on, and as soon as we get some more manpower and people here, we will get to that for sure, as well as having it alongside the other Lewis Masterson characters. So we're very happy with this, and we need to hear more about what the community thinks. So make sure you tell us on Twitter, on Discord, on any channel. Contact us, tell us what you think, ask us questions. In this office now, I'm basically going to be, I'm always showing some of it here, but there's a map in the other part of the room that there's going to be pins in every single movement that Morgan Kane had throughout America. And then we're going to drill down on locations, and that's going to lead us into, the locations that matter for El Pasoverse. So there's a lot coming, but on the book side, again, for those joining us late, the first 5 books have been sold as collector editions. They all sold out, and it's on Book.io. And we're going to launch book number 6 this coming week, which really changed it up a notch. I'm curious to see what everyone thinks about that. And then you'll be able to read these books on the, what did you call the edition, Patrick?
The open edition.
The open edition with these covers we selected. The open edition will be on Book.io. It'll be on Amazon. It'll be on iTunes. It'll be on Kobo and Google Play. And then we will talk about other formats too. So we'll start talking about additional formats such as print on demand and audiobooks. We're not there yet, but we'd like to get there. So we'd like to hear how you prefer to read books, what makes you select your stories, and so all these discussions need to happen now in Discord.
And maybe if I can jump in there a little bit, for me, this is actually a really interesting way of selling books, because essentially what we're doing is we're releasing, a collector's edition in a digital format, which hasn't really been done before, right? I have a large bookshelf. I have a lot of fantastic looking books in there that I collect because they look nice as well, and I like having them on my bookshelf. But in the digital world, this wasn't really possible because on Kindle, you can only have one specific title, and the cover is always the same, the book is always the same. There's no collectability to it. But now that we're introducing blockchain and Web3 and all these things where you can have true ownership over your books, we are bringing back this collectability that you had in the physical world into the digital world, and I think that's really interesting. Obviously, it's not for everyone. There are people that don't care about collecting books. They just want to read it, and that's totally fine. That's where the open edition comes into play. But for people who are truly fans and truly want to engage with the books and with the community around the books, this is a completely new way of doing it, and I think it's extremely powerful because we can use the books as well as a communication bridge between all three of us, or the whole team essentially, and the community. And we can have everyone vote on the covers, we can do airdrops, we can do so much more interactivity, which I think is unheard of in the publishing world. Because in the past, if I was an author, I sell my book and I have no idea who buys it, why do they read it, what do they think of it. I just have no way of contacting my readers, and now I do, in the digital world. So I think this is very, very cool.
I totally agree. And on that note, I mean, we're fortunate to have Halbing here. He's the voice and embodying spirit of his father, and there's a lot of likeness between them, actually, visually, demeanor, and the way of thinking, from what I've learned over the years. And he is a resource that's here, and talk to him, ask him questions also. And even if he's not directly on, we will get you into the channels here, not directly, but he's committed to bringing Morgan Kane internationally, which is, it's been held back for too long, and happy that it's here now. So, it's, and last thing I'll say is that, we are doing other books and authors and characters that's in our lineup, but we're going to keep coming back to Morgan Kane because it's the genesis, it's the core, it's the origin, it's the reason I started all this. It embodies the tone and feel, and you're going to see that in the covers. So it's just impossible to escape who Morgan Kane is. And I think I'll do a separate session on who is Morgan Kane, and what is he really about. And I can summarize it with a few words, but I'd like to drill down. It warrants its own stream, its own episode. People can really ask, and we dig into this. And I think that's represented in the next covers. Now that we have all the tools to show, the next title is called Marshall and Murderer. And I thought it was a bit of a crazy title. The first time I was launching this book, I thought it was almost too harsh and raw to have it, call your lead character a murderer. But, he's like a tool for the government. He's walking on this fine line between darkness and light, and good and bad, and it's such a complex character. So as we make these covers, the next step is making it all come alive in movie scenes, and Book.io is talking to us about that. They're very interested in doing a collaboration for Stuff.io, and we'll do, very soon you'll see us on a session with Jason, and we'll drill down on what that means, because this is just the first step. It's going to take off from here. So I think that's kind of my last words on this.
Wonderful. I think then we're almost at the end of the stream already. I see we had over 125 viewers. So thank you so much for everyone who was tuning in. It's great to speak to everyone. And yeah, any last words from any of you?
Shall we take any questions, or what do you think?
We can try, but I haven't seen any questions so far. If there are any questions, feel free to send them now. But we haven't really told anyone to send us questions, so
Okay.
I don't know if we will get any spontaneously.
Next one. Well, I'll take the opportunity to say, unless there's something you want to say, Ulf?
No, as I said earlier, I like this format, selecting the covers. Looking forward to getting more feedback from the community before we select again. I think that was a very good way to do it, and looking forward to the I'm looking forward to the continuous work.
What's unusual here is this is the technology community based around Cardano blockchain community, and this is where NMaker and Patrick Tobler is our most invaluable tool. I mean, this is where the reason we're here is because of NMaker and Patrick's suggestions, because we were going in a direction of the practical world and what we want to do. But we're going to start to see the connection between the technology and the practical element now, because now it's the practical side is caught up. This project was very dependent on the practical, because we're shooting things practically. We're not using AI. This is real locations, real actors, real scenes, real effects, and that's going to continue. Okay, we have a question. It looks like. What's the main purpose behind your projects? I interpret that to be the main purpose behind El Paso Verse. Is that how you interpret the question, Patrick? Yeah. The main purpose of El Paso Verse is going to be revealed this week, because El Paso is a destination. It's actually the city. You have Ciudad Juarez, and then you have the sister town on the U.S. side, which is El Paso. And it's the center point for the Old West. It's where all these stories came together. It's basically where, and that's when I mentioned where the movements of Morgan Kane, where he was, where he went. He started as a Texas Ranger, and then he started moving all over the U.S. as a U.S. Marshal. But he kept passing through and being close to El Paso. And that goes with all the other characters in Louis Masterson's universe as well. And I found it to be the center point on the U.S. side. Mexican side, Ciudad Juarez. So El Paso, this is about bringing people into the verse element of this, is having a universe that people can step into and be part of. It starts with the inspiration and the words and the stories that are in the books. That's what triggers the imagination of El Paso verse. That's what made us do all these things about the Western. And now we got to bring you as the readers, as an audience, as a community member into that. First with a reading experience. Next, we want you to be part of it. We want you to feel it. We want you to wear the clothes, be in the elements of what it was like to be in this time. And that sounds a little crazy. I'm not talking about virtual reality. I'm not talking about any kind of imagination here. I'm actually talking about bringing you there physically. And that's what's going to happen now in El Paso Verse. I'm not going to reveal it all in this call, because we're building a place. We're building El Paso Verse. We're building it physically, and it's going to be a place you can visit, you can go to, you can live in, you can stay there for as long as you want, and it's going to be extraordinary. But it comes from these books. It comes from these stories. So I'd like to answer your question in 2 days as we open up the next stream, and we can go into the maps and the locations. But the purpose is to transport you to 1880s, 1890s. I want you to be there. I want you to feel it. I want you to feel what it's like, because that's what we go through to build this. That's what we go through to make these covers. That's what we go through to when we read this. I think that's the purpose.
Very well put. Fantastic. Then I would say let's end the stream at this point. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone who was watching, of course, and the two of you. It's always a pleasure, Ryan, of course, and it was really nice to meet you. And yeah, and then let's continue this very soon.
See you in a few days, Patrick, and look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas in about 8 days.
Right. I have to pack.